Down in the Den, so go tell a friend. The best podcast on earth's about to begin. We got jokes and news and movie reviews. After Dark NC-17 with the crew. Interviews with the best artists around. So like, comment, subscribe. The show's starting right now. Let's go. Like, comment, subscribe. The show's starting right now. Welcome to Down in the Den. It's your boy Marz, as always, and joining me today in the den, he's going to be a little bit more than a guest. He is going to be my co-host for the first time in Down in the Den history. So we are about to have some serious fun. We're going to have some fantastic conversations. So I want all the den mates worldwide to give a warm welcome to comedian, actor, creator of SaturdayNightProject.com, businessman and talented and hilarious Robert Finn. Rob, bro, how are you doing today? And welcome to the den.
I am doing terrific. Couldn't be happier to be here, and that's all the time I have. Thanks so much.
No, thanks for coming out, and thank you for watching this episode of Down in the Den. And it's not hilarious.
I'm good, man. It's weird because we've already been talking for like 2 hours before this.
Exactly.
To give the people watching some movie magic. But yeah, man, happy to be here.
Well, I'm happy to have you.
What's up with you?
Man, it's another day in paradise. We were filming the last episode for this week, and it's probably going to be the best episode. So I'm really excited to have you, man. I checked out your work and I reached out to you, and as Rob said, showing you how the sausage is made. We've been chatting for probably 2 hours before we even turned this camera on, which is something I like to do. Everybody that watches the Den, we know it's more than just a talk show or a podcast. We're a community. We're a village, and I'm very selective who we let into this village because we only want the best people, the people with the most integrity, the people with the best heart. And Rob is one of them. So, brother, I'm happy to have you here, man. So a lot of people are probably curious. They're like, he's a comedian, he's an actor, he's a voice actor, he does all of this. But there's a tradition that we always do here on the Den, and everyone knows I'm the biggest Marvel head in the whole wide world. I love comic books, and I always say every hero, every villain, or every anti-villain has a origin story. So we've been talking, I know your origin story, but for the Den mates, let everyone know how you became who you are today. What's your origin story?
Hell yeah. Also, Den mates, as the people watch, love it. Great. Thanks for that overly kind intro. So I'm 30-year-old, Boston born, Boston living, white man. I lived in Franklin the earlier part of my life. I had a standard, lovely, wonderful childhood for 1 to 18. Went to college at the University of Miami. Had worked in software sales, technology jobs for a few years, and I still do that nowadays too. But I think the reason that I'm here and the reason that I've been in a lot of situations like this, we were talking about the connections that you make, is over the past several years, I've jumped into multiple endeavors in the entertainment and mostly comedy space. So that includes, I've done voiceover work and am the current lead title character for a pilot series about pro wrestling that is really exciting. Do some sketch acting and sketch writing, and do some punch ups for other people's sketches, and in the process of putting together the SaturdayNightProject.com, which I didn't explain what that is, right? The SaturdayNightProject.com is a catalog of every person who has ever officially auditioned for the show and either join the cast or not join the cast. the way I like to think of it is uh, getting on SNL is the gold medal. Auditioning is getting to the Olympics. Both are amazing. Both are Hall of Fame level. It's just 1 degree of separation. Um, and whether they got on the show or didn't, their stories about when they found out or what they did or who put them in touch with this person to get onto the most storied stage anywhere in the country is fascinating. So I've done a couple of interviews and I hope to do more of people who auditioned and hear their stories. And um, that has been just a ton of fun. Um, so that's me. And yeah, happy to be here. Hope anyone that's watching and is a fan of SNL will have their mind blown when they go to the site. And I'm going to beat you to it. I know the site's quality is not the best right now. Version 2 is coming before the end of the year. Okay. Good. Get the lawyers off my back.
Dude, I am
Um,
super excited, and the site is dope. Even in its current format, it is dope. I always check out
it's
what
beta.
what the DMAs have going on, and I always give honest and valid, like, oh, I like this, and this could be cool. And
Yeah.
I'm a concept man.
Yeah.
You can sucker me with you can get my money from concept alone. If your concept sparks my interest, and you're right. I mean, Saturday Night Live, it's been on so long. I think it feels like we've all grown up with it. No
Mhm.
matter if you're 20 years old or 70 years old, it's been on so long. And some of the greatest talents of all time have come from that show. So I love it, bro. And I love that analogy, going to the Olympics. Less than 1% of 1% of the population will ever get to go to the Olympics,
Yep.
ever. And then even less of a percent is going to win a gold medal. So when you think
Yep.
about it like that, I'm like, dude, we're all successes. We all made it out the nutsack. We're all successes. We have 60 million brothers and sisters that ended up in a sock somewhere, but we made it. So, dude,
So
I love it.
that's why the two of us are announcing the Nutsack Project today. It's going to be every person that's ever been born. So looking forward to kicking that off.
I'm going to be very excited. I'm working on Methuselah's interview right now, so we're going to have a
Okay.
seance. It's going to be dope. It's going to be dope. I
Okay.
appreciate that.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Good. Good.
So we
Um,
heard in the background, everyone who watches the show knows that my late dog who passed July, Charlie, Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, the most beautiful soul that ever existed. So I am a dog lover, and we heard him on the background. And if everyone goes to Rob's Instagram, please check it out. We'll plug that at the end. That's the majority of his social media is there. You will see I fell in love instantly with the guy Caleb. Tell me about your dog, man. We're both dog lovers here. We love the cats too, but tell me about your dog, man.
so
He's beautiful.
my parents have 3 animals, and I'm living at home with them right now, taking care of my dad. And uh, Caleb is 7 years old, um, dumb as bricks. Wouldn't change a thing about him.
Right,
He's the way that we got him was I saw a picture of him. I was dating this girl at the time, and it was her mom's pastor. And I was like, I'm getting that dog. How do I make sure we get this dog? So went back to my parents, said, "Hey, take a look at this dog. Um, they're looking for families to foster him, and he's 2 years old. So why don't we just take him for a little while, see how things feel?" In the back of my head, knowing the moment he walks in the door, he's never leaving again. So yeah, let's have him come over and check. Um, and I forget if I said this, but at the time he was 6 months old. But to them, that said puppy too much, so I said he
right.
was 2. And you know, cut to a month later, Caleb's here. Um, I came clean to them pretty quickly, and not because of guilt, because of, if I'm honest, I gloated a little bit. I was like, I got you to do this thing that I knew would make your life better. Just had to bend the truth a little bit. But uh, Caleb is the best. He does this thing. Just what you might be referring to. Does this thing where he chews on the cat's neck, and every time when it started happening, I assumed like that just happens because I'd never had a dog and a cat together. I was like, oh, it's normal.
Also cats. So, Tom and Jerry has put that propaganda that no, I'm just kidding. But
Yeah, it's true.
absolutely.
Yeah. Um, yeah, because what uh, the media machine has taught me. But no, but so he does that, and I looked it up to know what it was, and it's purely affectionate grooming. So it's even cuter than it looks. So Charlie was found on the streets of Miami in 2010 when I was going to University of Miami with three roommates. We said he'll be our outdoor cat. 3 days later, he became our indoor cat. He flew home with me in the summers, lived with us in Miami during the semesters, and when school ended, uh, two of them didn't want him, and not didn't want him, but was just like, my new place can't have cats, whatever. Me and a friend had to kind of go back and forth. I won. Then I moved out, and now he's my parents' cat. Um, then Bingo, I can't believe, but they're all so cute and worth it. Was my brother's dog. We tragically lost him last year, but uh, Bingo brought him a lot of comfort, and now here with us, he's just the best. He's always jumping in on laps, and uh, we love him. And I know my parents are going to love the fact that anyone in the world is listening to me talk about how great they are. So,
Dude, I could talk about they're literally the best. I always had this theory. I'm like, what's dog spelled backwards?
God.
There you go. And I mean, I've literally seen what it's done for my parents, keeping them young and vibrant by having to walk the dog, and it's like a lot of parents they get that empty nest syndrome when the kids move out and they become adults, and having that dog is like, I know we talked about it, and this is going to be a funny episode. I know it seems like we may be spilling our hearts, but this is a freestyle episode where we're just having fun with a friend, and I'm glad you guys are tuning in. But for those who don't know more about my personal life, I've talked about it in future episodes. I went through divorce, and Charlie literally kept me alive. My dog Charlie. Through that time period, because days I didn't, when I was in mourning and didn't want to get up, I had to walk him, I had to feed him. So I literally felt that he was here, and he was a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. They don't have long lives. They're cute as hell. He was dumb as bricks, like your dog Caleb. We used to call Charlie CLD, which stands for cute little dummy, because he would just eat socks. Like the fact that I had him for 9 years is a miracle because he would eat my socks every day, literally every single day. And
Yeah.
then I would walk him, and he'd poop out a Ralph Lauren sock, and I'm like, oh
Right.
God, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
It's a
hmm
sock. So he should have never been
And
here.
I guarantee that anyone in your family that saw that would come out and be like, "Why'd you let him eat that? He
Oh
can't
yeah.
be completely going to the defense of the dog."
Oh yeah, my mom, she was like, "Well, you need to put your socks in a higher place." And I was like, "They're in a hamper." He's
Yeah,
literally knocking the
that's
hamper up.
victim blaming. They're
Right,
victim
right. Absolutely. And if I want to wear what I want to wear, I should be able to do
blaming.
it. And I felt that way, but yeah, he was great. He was great. So
Yeah.
and guys, check out on the link in the bio. We still have those Charlie Way shirts for the end of the year. With your Down and Den merch, 100% of the proceeds go to Cavalier Health and dog donations. So buy your Charlie's Way shirt now. Cheap plug. But dude, yeah, they're the best. I could talk about uh dogs all day, dogs and cats. So we were earlier, man. It's a you're an actor, you're a voice actor, and I'm so excited to hear pro wrestling is another one. I knew you were doing, a lead and a voice, but I didn't know it was about pro wrestling. You kept that
Mm,
golden goodie to
yeah.
myself. Did you want to tell us a little bit about it, man? 'Cause, that's my thing. If I was a foot taller and 100 pounds heavier, I would be the Rock right now.
Oh, completely. So uh, I don't know how much about the show I can share. It's under NDA currently. I know that I could talk about some things and it would be okay, but um, just to not make the awesome dudes who have been great throughout the making of the show not be mad, I'll say it's really funny and worth the wait. There
Hey,
you go.
that's enough.
Um,
That's sold for me.
yeah,
When it's ready, bro, we're gonna have to have you back on, man. Because
yeah.
when I think about wrestling, the only thing I want to say is, "Ooh yeah, Macho."
So
The amount
I,
of cocaine that Macho Man probably was at back then. When I think
well,
about those
everybody.
promos, everybody absolutely, especially Ultimate Warrior, God rest the
Yeah,
dead, but some of his promos are completely 100% fueled on that good Colombian, and I ain't talking about coffee, so I
yeah.
understand 100%.
Incidentally, though, um, I never hated it, and I kind of like it now, but I was never like a massive pro wrestling fan. Um, it was it never clicked for me. I think what it was maybe like I was old enough to know that it was like a performance
Right,
and you know almost like a melodramatic soap opera, but in a good way. Uh, but uh, then thinking I was like above it, and which when I think about that now, I'm like, my God, 11-year
yeah,
old pretentious a hole.
but the age difference, we're 10 years apart, so I grew up with, "Is it real? Is it not real?" Like, I remember as kids talking and we would say, "Oh, WWF is fake," because you have, back then in the '80s, you had the plumber character and the Undertaker character, and, like, the wrestlers were just jobs. It was like, "I'm the
Yeah,
Mountie, and
yeah.
I'm just the Mountie who happens to."
I'm the convenience store owner.
Yeah, and when you think about how ludicrous this is in retrospect, that this guy made $1 billion corporation literally just making professions. They had a guy named the Repo Man who who was a repo man, but he wrestled, and you just think about that. You're like, oh, the janitor, the repo man, the doctor.
Yeah,
They had
it was
a
he was driving on his way to work and just picking people off the sides of the roads, saying, you're one," and the ticket taker, here you are.
absolutely, the safety patrol, and he was just a wrestler in a safety patrol outfit. So I grew up in the NWO generation when wrestling was cool, when it was getting 8 million views on cable TV in the highlight. I remember graduating and us doing our speech, and we were like, class of '98 is just too sweet. We're doing so people a little bit older, we're the biggest wrestling fans in the world. But no, I understand, like, being a single man, that's one thing
Mm.
when you tell a potential mate, "Hey, I also like to look at pro wrestling, and I'm 40 years old," and you're gonna, "Oh, okay," for little kids, you're like, "No, ain't no little kids here. It's just me."
So, um, the 2 things, one is that I'd never considered the time before it was a certainty that pro wrestling was fake, or performed, and man, that to me sounds so cool. I wish I, had that. That's like a bonus Santa Claus.
It is.
Like
It
it's
is.
this mystical thing that you can see and you know you kind of understand but don't. And damn, I would have
No,
loved that.
it was a good time when kayfabe
Yeah.
was real. It was a good time, and they had rules. The bad guys couldn't be caught in public with the good guys, even if they were best friends in real life. And
Mhm.
it's almost like that carnival. I always wanted to work on a documentary, uh, you know, and hey, maybe in the future I will. But on pro wrestling because the culture is just so interesting. If you really
Mm,
dig in the culture,
mhm,
it's super interesting. It's super interesting. But bouncing off of wrestling, and we were talking a little bit. You're a Hollywood guy, future Hollywood guy, man, and we were talking about this resurgence. This the last 18 months to 2 years has just been a culture shock for the whole
yeah,
world. None of
mhm,
us lived during the Spanish flu, so we this is. I know it's my first pandemic. How about you?
yeah. It I mean, yep, first one, yep.
Yeah, first one. So it's weird, and I try to keep my eye on the news, and they talk about the Great Resignation, where so many people are leaving their jobs that they've had for 20 years and starting new businesses or new careers, and it's kind of
Mhm,
like an evolution of the mind state. Lots of fear, a lot of you hear all these crazy news stories about people just going off and violence and it's crazy out here. And I said, you know what? We've all been in solitary confinement for the most part for 2 years. And then
mhm,
it's like we all got bailed out and let out in the world and no counseling. I feel like every single
mhm,
person on the planet that's been alive for this last 2 years deserve to get some free counseling because
100%.
it's mentally it's been it's just been a challenge for us all.
Yeah,
So not to get too dark, but it's certainly a
yeah,
way. But we were talking offline about this new wave of movies, and we're both movie buffs. What do you feel about that? People are going back into theaters in waves, and I said, thank God for Marvel. They may have literally saved the movie industry. But
yeah.
what do you think about that? Give us some of your thoughts.
So, uh, first things first, I have been I was a Movie Pass guy when the moment that came out until they raised the price for the first time. Um, then I switched over to the AMC Pass, which was $20 a month. You could go to 12 total, 3 each week. Um, I stopped using that in right before the pandemic, and uh, as of today, according to Letterboxd, I have seen 1,347 movies. Um, and also, by the way, that's a full plug for Letterboxd. There were so many times where there'd be a movie on HBO, and I'd be like, "Have I seen that? Did I see that? Was that good?" And then you watch it for 10 minutes and go, "Oh, I have seen this." Um, so check it out, Letterboxd. Um, as for the movie theater, I guess maybe revival's not the right word, but so I actually uh, wanted to see the Christopher Nolan movie, which I'm now blanking on. It
Tenet?
was yes, I wanted to see Tenet in theaters so bad. It was released into theaters in like mid August, and there were so many precautions. There was like rules about staying in your seats. There was like double mask. There was you weren't allowed to like eat anything or drink anything throughout it. So uh, it was a lot to go through for any movie. Um, and after that, I was just like, I'm not going to go back for a little while. My where I'm at right now is, and I could be wrong on this, until it's fully normal to be in a movie theater, I'm not going back. I used to go by myself somewhere under 1,447 times. It was what I would for like a 8-month period in 2016, 2017. Work, go see a movie, go skip all the traffic, go home. Then later on, it was uh, work, workout, go home, shower, go directly to a movie. Um, it was my standard day, and I do miss that. Um, and it made me I would say if anyone ever asked me for like, what's your hot take? My hot take is going to the movies should be like going to your dentist. There is not only does everyone go alone, it doesn't make sense for you to go with somebody else.
Bro, thank you. You can't talk. It's a terrible place to go on a date or anywhere. It should be for you. Oh, bro, we're kindred spirits.
You so I'll play it out. Okay, we're gonna go see this movie tonight. It's 7:15. I don't want to do 7:15. I'm gonna be at the gym until 6:45. Can we do it at 8? Person from over here. 8 doesn't work for me. I have to get up early tomorrow morning. Okay. All right. Well, I can do 8, but we have to go to this theater. No, I don't want to go to that theater. Actually, can we see a different movie? I'm supposed to see that with my girlfriend next week. And then you have the same conversations before when it comes to food. Uh, if one of the people that you went with was a strong proponent of the movie and it was bad, we treat them like, you
Lepers.
know, lepers.
Absolutely.
And I absolutely refuse to do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's, it's like for me. It's like the thing that keeps me up at night. That like, and I mean this in a pretty non-serious way, but it's just like they're all out there just going to the movies together. Um, and I also feel that way about skiing, but I don't know if we have enough time for that. Maybe we'll get into it at some point.
I've never been on the skis because I feel it's my destiny to Sony bono myself.
Hmm.
Too soon? Is it too soon? Is it too soon? I don't think it's too soon,
No,
but
no.
I think we're good. I don't
When
want
it
to get
comes to skiing, everyone is going to die, and it should be outlawed.
yeah.
That's it.
It I have always thought the movie should be, and you always hear, oh, you want to go to a dinner and a movie. Well, if I'm going to go to dinner and a movie, I started thinking, oh, cinema cafes, boom, combines both. But then usually the food is trash, or they'll give you the food as the movie is ending or on a good part. So now I'm like you. I prefer to go to the movies by myself with my
Hmm.
own thoughts, my own opinion. I'll catch a matinee. There's no one there. I'm big on going to a movie on a Saturday at, noon and no
Yep.
one is in the theater.
Yes.
Tickets are cheaper and I can just enjoy myself, less COVID in the air. So
Mm.
I'm a big fan, and it's tough because the streaming services, there's so many. And HBO Max, they pretty much all of their movies came out directly on HBO Max day
Yeah.
one. So I really thought, oh, this is it. This is it for I've made a killing off of
Hmm.
AMC stock because when
You were one of those guys.
I'm one of those guys. I missed out on the GameStop because that's just ludicrous. Who would have
Oh,
thought that would have went anywhere? But I made a ton of money on AMC and a ton of money on White and Petroleum because I was like, dude, it's no way AMC is going to close. Yeah, I got in when the stock was 75 cents, and now I think
good.
it's closing today at about 30, and probably even more once Spider Man comes out. But I
I
literally
bought
went.
it at
What did you get
9.
in on?
I bought it at 9. Held on
Nine.
to it. Uh, no, $9
Oh,
or whatever.
$9. Okay, okay. I was like, I
So
don't think you got it low.
not near where you were at, but for $9.
Yeah, man.
Uh, held it for 2 weeks. I think it went down to 7. Sold it
Oh no, you gotta say, you gotta play. I'm
because
not
I
gonna
had.
say, I'm not gonna say how
If,
much I made, but put it like this: it got down to around 78 cents, 75 cents, and it looked like that was it, And the pandemic was raging, and I went out and we had just got a bonus, like the job had given me some type of bonus for tax credit or whatever. And I had just an extra $1,000 laying around. And I'm like, there's no way if Marvel alone is as long as that's out, people are gonna go see movies. And I put the whole $1,000 in that. So I'll just put it at that. It was a good move. It was a good move for me. Same thing with
Hold on.
White and Petroleum. That almost went bankrupt, and I was like, dude, oil.
Let's see. Hold on. Just answering a text and definitely not doing the math of how
Oh
much
no,
you.
oh no, you're cool, bro.
Let's. No, I'll do it later. Um, but do you want to feel even more lucky about how you did that?
Yeah, man.
Because
I always like the good luck.
in 20, it was either 2013 or 2014. I was a huge Reddit guy, and I still
Oh,
use it infrequently now. But it's the a lot of people are really mean, and I don't need that. Um, but uh, there was this crazy joke currency called Dogecoin, and it came out literally when it came out. I had heard about it within 2 days, and bought $100 of it 2 weeks later. Um, then, like 2 months later, one of the exchanges that was holding this Dogecoin got hacked, and 50% of the people lost all their Dogecoin. I was one of
oh,
those people.
shit.
Uh, so, choice was, do I put more in or, not? Um, and I chose not to because I was like, when is this ever going to come back? How could it possibly ever come back? It's a silly coin with a dog's funny face on it. No huge influential billionaire is going to start talking about it all the time. There's no way. And here we are under the rule of Elon Musk and Dogecoin, as my millions sit with some guy who hacked easydoge.com.
And I started telling you a story, how I missed the Bitcoin wave 10 years ago, and because I was sporadic and thought I bounce all around, but 10 years ago I have a friend that is big into the dark web, and they were buying things on the dark web, and he was like, Bitcoin is the way to go. It's untraceable. It's never going to depreciate, and it's only a certain amount. And I was like, dude, that's stupid. That's stupid. No one's going to buy fake money. You're going to buy money. I'm like, you're dumb. And now he's in the Bahamas somewhere right now and enjoying the millions of dollars in his bank account. And my dumb ass is like, yeah, so I, I just found a good investment, but I did get in on Dogecoin when it was less than, I think it was .005 or something like that. So it wasn't like a penny, and then it was less than a penny when I got in, and when it got to 25 cent, I sold the shit out of it because I was like, "There's no way it's gonna get to $1. There's no way it's gonna get." And then I think it got as high as like 88 cent, and so I missed out on a ton of that. But yeah,
But
I feel your pain. I feel
what
your
year,
pain.
what year was it when you
Oh,
did?
that was last year when I got into it. It was right before. It was right after the because I wasn't in on Reddit until last year, so
Yeah.
it was right after the GameStop fiasco, and then it was right before Elon Musk started saying Doge is the way, and Snoop was talking about it. So it was like .005 cent, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna put 500 in because I had already missed the Bitcoin, but it wasn't moving for a long time. And it was going back and forth. And I was like, same thing. I was like, this is stupid. It's a coin with a dog on it. It's dumb. I just wasted $500 and I'm now living on one income. Maybe that was a dumb idea. And then when it got to 25 cent, I was like, sell, 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 sell. And I just missed out on so much profit. But I
Yeah.
mean, I still made a profit, but I could have made more profit.
Yeah. It's it was what was funny about Dogecoin specifically was when it came back came well to most people. It was the first time it had ever come up. They thought it just started existing in
Right.
2018, whatever. Uh,
I was that
but
guy.
but because loser nerds like me that do nothing but click through Reddit all day were like, no, Dogecoin's been around since 2014. I especially was like that because I had bought some right then, got it stolen, and I haven't been able to do the math of what it would have been worth, but
Don't do it to yourself.
yeah,
Don't
it'd be like
don't
buying Bitcoin on day two.
Yeah, yeah. Don't do it to yourself. When I think about when I go and I'm on Cash App or on Robinhood and I'm looking at stocks and you see Bitcoin at
Hmm.
30,000%, and I'm like, dude, when you start doing the math, you're like, whew, that is a cruise ship of money I missed on that scenario. A
Sure.
cruise ship, and the
Are,
information was out there.
are you a like a stock investments type guy?
I am only because we had a when I was in middle school, we had a Wall Street dude come to the school and teach us how to invest. So he gave this is when you would get your stocks on the newspaper,
Mhm.
and he had us all pick stocks. And his tip was, if it's something that you love, there's probably a million other people that like it. And he was like, and there's 5 billion people on the planet. If you can get 100,000 people of something to pay for it, you can be a millionaire. So we did it for I think 9 weeks, and I was literally just investing on stuff I liked: Pepsi, Nike, Walmart, things of that nature. And it was all fake money. It's not like we actually spent money. And I made the highest amount of the entire class. So after that, once Robinhood came out and you didn't actually have to get an investment firm or anything to do it for you, you could just pick it yourself. I started doing that.
Or a full share.
Yeah, for a full share. And I also, when my mom taught me about my 401k when got my first job, and I think my first real job, and I was 21 years old, just graduated college, and I was working for Enterprise Rent a Car, and they gave me the 401k, and they gave you the option to pick the stocks, and I'm like, Mom, what the hell is this? I'm not, I'm like, they want me to put 8% of my check in. I'm like, are they crazy? I could buy combo meals with that. And she was like,
Yeah,
just do it. She was like, it's pre-tax. You're not gonna miss it because you're never gonna see it.
right.
And it made a ton of investment. So yeah, I mess around a bit with the stock market just because the goal is at 50, I don't want to do anything I don't want to do. That's
Yes,
the ultimate goal. Anything I want to do is because I want to do it. So
absolutely. And I attempt to do that to a degree now. And the in you discussing the uh, thinking about money when you were younger, the way I always kind of explain uh, how I was looking at things at the time, like when I was 17 years old, was doing really well in school and had a bunch of uh, colleges I could possibly get into, all good stuff. But my number one school, without question, the one for me, early decision, University of Miami, the U, going down to Miami for 4 years and hang out. Uh, if someone came up to me and was like, "We'll give you a loan, but it's going to cost you $11 billion to attend the University of Miami," I would have said, "Great, okay, can we go, Mom? All right, yeah. Can we get beer tonight?" Wouldn't have thought about it. Would not have said no. And I think that's a lot of the underlying, um, cause of the student debt debate. A lot of people took a lot of money, but I would bet that most of those people did not understand it as much as they should have about what that would mean.
and when you say most, I would say 150%.
Yeah.
It's so funny that you can't rent a car at 18 years old. but we'll give an 18-year-old $100,000 loan to get an education
Mhm. Yep.
because they know the government's going to get their money. Sally Mae is going to get their money
Yep.
regardless, and it's ridiculous in a society. I have this theory that I've been writing, for a PhD that's not coming, but I call
Does it
it,
have a name?
yes, the theory is called rule by macro or macro ruling. Macro ruling sounds a little bit. So everything that we should do as a people, and by people I mean a human race, we have to start with the biggest level possible, and that starts the earth. If we're doing anything that's messing up the earth, it has to be stopped. Because last time I checked, I mean, Elon Musk and other billionaires are trying to find another planet. This is the only place we have to live. So when we talk about climate control and we talk about, Paris Climate Accords and we talking about global warming, dude, it's obvious. I'm 40 years old and I've literally seen winters go from snow to 80 degrees
Yeah.
in like 20 years. It's real. We have to stop this climate denial and all this stupid shit
Yeah.
that politicians do just because they want to get financing from oil companies. Stop. It's
Mm.
more of us than it is of them. So if you're pumping oil into the ocean, you're done. You can't be a
Yeah.
company that's so what we can do is, try to convert your company to make things, electric cars or whatever. That's how you
Windmill.
transition. Yeah. So you start there. So everything that's good for the planet. Next thing, everything that's good for the people. So is it good for the people to pay and go into debt for education? Or is it good for the people that if you have the ability, your education is free? Because that kid that can't get the loan might be the kid to cure cancer. So what's better for society? Him if he's showing the ability at an early age, oh man, this kid is a top chemist. And the only thing that's keeping him from college is he doesn't have the money. Why are we at a society not giving the best possible education? I've always felt that your grade school should be teaching you we don't need to learn about Christopher Columbus. We're good on that. What we should be doing is teaching languages, and we should be teaching social skills, and we should be teaching how to survive. So you need to learn how to be able to cook. You need to learn how to be able to feed your family. You need to know about tax codes. That should be your elementary school. We don't need to learn about Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. You can Google that on your own. High school should be what college is. So at that point, you should be getting prepared for your career, and we should be doing aptitude tests instead of just doing like a culturally biased SAT that somebody from a different area may fail, but it doesn't mean they're less intelligent. Let's do aptitude tests. Oh, this kid has a knack for engineering. Do let's go ahead and build your curriculum around that. This
Hmm.
kid has an aptitude for singing. We're going to go ahead and build your career around that. It sounds a lot like socialism. It's like Smurf Village,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's just what's doing best for the world, what's doing best for the people. And then if you rule that way, you're good. Like it's common sense. We don't need to have corporations paying politicians $20 million and then having those politicians vote on stuff for the. It's a conflict of interest. It's not complicated. So I could fix this world in 5 minutes if you just give me ultimate power. But that's just here and
And
there.
you are 100% right. But to the ones being entrenched in that, you know, politician gets paid by special interest lobbyist group to, you know, get more people to police and stop voters of color in this state. For them, uh, it's not obvious that or yeah, it's the wrong thing, but it's for the right reason to let them win and govern in their perfect conservative one dad, one mom. Mom's at home cooking, dad's off at work. No one's gay. The dog's happy in the backyard. The 1950s.
Yeah.
That's what TV has made me think of, the 1950s at least. Um,
I grew up on Nick at Night and looking at
mm,
Leave It to Beaver and all of these 50 shows and 60 shows and Dick Van Dyke, and they were awesome. But then we also forget, yeah, there was probably like 13 or 14% of the population at the time that the 50s was living hell. Living hell for us. And when people say, oh, make America great again, or let's go back to the good old days, I'm like, for who? Like, do you realize that if I had a time machine right now, that I'd have to go to the future? Because if I went 40 years back, it would definitely suck for me. I remember there was a mime with like a white scientist and a black scientist, and they were like, "We just discovered time travel. Let's go back to the past." And the black scientist is like, "Nah, I'm good." So it's a development of people realizing, okay, we're all here. We're all on this rock together. Let's just go ahead and decide what's the best for us to make sure that we have the best experience on this rock. I've always said prison could be awesome if people would stop killing and raping each other. We were like, hey, we got free healthcare, we got free
yeah,
food, we got free shelter. You don't have
yeah,
to work. Just everybody behave.
yeah.
It'd be paradise.
Make it a mandatory summer camp. Change the whole attitude
Yeah.
overnight.
Overnight. It's just expanding your mind. It be like, dude, we could be so much better. We could be so much better. Live like
By the
dogs.
way, there's a comedian who makes that exact joke about the time machine and race. Uh, and he was just like, it's a uniquely white experience to if you were to go to a time machine, you could get in it, go to any time, get out, and your life would be awesome.
Awesome.
Uh, whereas, you know, a black guy, they say, "Hey, where do you want to go?" And he's like, "Definitely not back there. Let's see what's up ahead, but I'm scared of that too."
Yeah.
And it's like that's uh, yeah. Who was? Oh, I think it might have been Louis C.K. Who? Never mind.
Hey. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned next week for part 2. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching Down in the Den.